Here.
Here.
She here?
Here.
Yeah, she's Counselor Almond,
Present.
Sims,
Here.
and Counselor Andrus.
Here.
All present. We got
Everyone, can I get a motion to dispense with the reading and approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Almond, second by Ms. Andrus. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Five
It was
to
all
zero.
on and Andrus?
Almond and Andrus, yes. All right, I'm gonna skip to, new business item, 060923, cause I believe we have somebody here for that one. It is request for consideration to place a tent in the right of way at 2846 18th Street South. You can come in and sign in, but I'm going to start by saying this. We have, section 18-3, from the 1970 code. Use of sidewalks, etc., for display, etc. purposes, it shall be unlawful for any person to use any sidewalk or any street of the city for the purpose of exhibiting any fruits, vegetables, hardware, groceries, merchandise, poultry, or stock in trade for any merchant for the purpose of sale or any other purpose. That is the Alabama code, so there you go. This. Yes.
which item are you on first?
We are skipping to 060923 because he is here.
And what did you just read from?
It is the Alabama state code.
It's actually the city code.
Oh, this is the city code, but it's, okay. I thought it was Alabama code because it looked
What's
like,
the section?
looked like the code
No,
1970.
that's a sick.
Okay, our city code, yeah. It's the
Muni.
Muni code, so it's code 1970, section 18-3. So the city code of Homewood prevents the use of sidewalk for, display of any merchandise, essentially, for the purpose of sale. So that is in the,
Clothing, shoes.
every possible
that's
thing is in
things
here.
that are out there all the time.
Well, I mean, I don't ever see anybody else's stuff out on the sidewalk.
Oh, well, and at the intersection.
If you're in the parking lot.
At the intersection, there's.
Talking about after the location.
Oh, no, this is only sidewalk, like you can't have your goods out on the sidewalk.
Okay,
But-
you're talking about what's out there now,
Yes,
or it's been out there.
yes.
Yeah, that's, you can't.
That, you can't do that, which is why he's here asking for a variance, but the fact is, you can't do a variance for
We, as a
a
council,
violation.
cannot give a variance for something.
Change the ordinance, but you can't
Yeah.
vary an ordinance prohibits something.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can't
So-
give a variance for something that's prohibited.
Right.
Okay, so this is a new request, I'd just like to hear where this
Yeah,
is. and
yeah,
what this-
you're,
Yeah, so we're the old Urban Cookhouse location, and I remember always shopping downtown Homewood. Their tables and chairs were right there, occupying that whole section right in front of the store. And all we're asking is a 10 by 10 tent, that plenty of room to walk around, just so we can put our clothes, so the sun doesn't fade our clothes. Now, we've had it there, we didn't know that we needed a permit, so they asked us to take it down, which we have. And business, that really draws a lot of business to us. We had one of our worst days that week. One of our worst days, we sold $100. When people come in, they'll take a sale item, they'll come in and buy other things. Now, the coffee place, O. Henry's, has,
awnings.
umbrellas that, with their seats.
Yeah, that's different because they're not putting their merchandise out on the sidewalk. They're simply providing chairs and tables, which actually is allowed, and we have certain situations where that is allowable.
It's actually, Oak Hill that does that.
Yeah, Oak Hill does that too, yeah. But this is a different scenario. The city code prevents you from having merchandise out on the sidewalk, except in the case of like the Chamber of Commerce tent sale or that is allowed because that's an event that's sidewalk sale, yeah. But other than that, it is against city code to have merchandise out on the sidewalk,
So
covered or
the tables
uncovered.
and the chairs were okay?
But that's not merchandise, that's just a place where people sit.
I know, but I'm saying that was really in the way. This is not in the way.
The ordinance speaks to
Yeah.
merchandise.
To
Yes,
merchandise, you cannot do
this is not
merchandise.
about, this is not about tables and chairs, this is specifically about the code prevents their merchandise from being sold from the sidewalk, essentially. Other than in the case of like the Chamber of Commerce sidewalk sale, when it is allowed.
And this is the clothing store, right? that it's-
Yes,
that
yes,
is-
although
What's
is
the
there a
name?
salon? Are y'all, there's a salon too?
In the back.
There's
Okay.
a salon inside and the clothing store on the front and outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're back to sort of where we started, which is, it's a
It's not allowed.
prohibited use,
So you,
You
because it's
can't do
not
a
allowed,
variance.
you can't have a variance.
So what happened was the city went to them and asked
Some-
them to move inside?
Well, they
The
told
city
them to
got a
take down the,
complaint.
Okay.
yeah, to take down the tent.
Okay.
Because they had put it up without, yeah, so somebody complained about the tent and there you go. And so they came to get a permit for a tent, but the fact is, it's, in this particular circumstance, there is no permit for a tent because it's not allowed.
The permit for the tent would be a separate issue, but there's no
Right.
reason for the tent without the merchandise, and the merchandise is prohibited and we can't.
And why did it
give you
come to
variance.
the committee as opposed to just being handled on the fourth floor, or?
It just slipped through to the point where before we
Yeah.
realized that it was,
Right, the code
that it was a
section.
prohibited, because again, the original request was for a tent variance,
I got you.
Yeah.
which could have,
Might have been something different.
it would, yeah, it would have been different. We can do a tent variance.
But we can't. in
But
this
that,
particular
so that's what the original request was for.
Right, so they weren't looking necessarily for that code
Selling
section
items
until they
under a tent.
realized that that's what the point of the tent was.
Gotcha.
Counselor
So,
Smith,
yes.
and so if we wanna discuss the selling of items on the street, or the sidewalk, I'm sorry, then that's a separate item, that's not up for discussion.
It is.
Correct, that would have to be a
Yeah.
different
And-
item.
But
And
I will speak from my own perspective, I do not want our entire downtown sidewalks peppered with merchandise and racks and shoes and tables and tents. I mean, that makes the navigation of
But
those
yes,
sidewalks
if we were
virtually
going to
impossible.
consider it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna discuss it
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now,
yeah,
cause it's
yeah.
not the item. for
Right, but
conversation.
yes, no, that would be a separate
My
discussion.
question then, I guess, is, in regards to the tent,
Right,
I mean, so just to make sure for the applicant, so your intent was to use the tent to cover items which are not gonna be able to be placed on the sidewalk, correct?
yeah, that's what it was. There was a
Yeah.
tent out there that
So
had a
then-
table with merchandise
So
and a rack.
then, the only appropriate thing to do then seems to be to make a motion to drop this
Yes,
item.
is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay, motion to drop from Mr. Sims, second from Ms. Andrus, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that is dropped. So sorry, thank you. Alright, alright, the, old business item is 160823, public hearing set for September 25th, 2023 at 6 p.m. for consideration of a sign variance at 2844 18th Street South, by the Howell Family LLC. We actually voted to send this item out without recommendation pending the public hearing, last week, so, we will carry this item. Well, actually, I guess we can, it should have come off the agenda. Yeah, cause I thought
We
we
did that.
we voted to send it out, yeah. So, yeah, okay, so that should already be out, cause it was a 5-0 to move that off the, move that out to full council. Okay, alright, so the last item is, 070923, request to set a public hearing for consideration of a sign variance at 160 State Farm Parkway, the Drury Inn, Plat Q. Oh, where are we going? Oh, there, okay.
I believe y'all are probably here for this.
Yes.
Okay, I can break it down real quick.
Break it down.
Yeah. Brian, can you go to the first page? There we go. So variance 1 is in the red box to the left. This sign here up on the top would be considered by the definition of the zone, of the sign ordinance as a marquee sign.
Okay.
Because it's above the walls and, it projects out, so it's got, this is what we're calling a marquee sign. So the proposed signage square footage is compliant, but the signage height is not. On a marquee sign, you can only have a 24-inch tall letter. So, which doesn't make sense in this case, I agree.
Right, so, and can I ask a question, Wyatt? Where am I at the Drury Inn? Which one is that? Where is?
This would be the south elevation.
No, where is the hotel located? In,
It's all Lakeshore Drive.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where, sorry, Wyatt, where in Wildwood is the hotel?
I can't remember which end it's on.
Is it on the Hilton Garden Inn?
It's on you go in, you hang a right.
Okay, so it's over there by like the seafood place and
Yeah,
the
right next door.
King and all that?
Right next door.
Thank you. That is what I need to know. How far off the road is it? How long, I mean, it's a pretty good
It's a
distance.
good distance off the road, yeah.
The main road.
Yeah, like off the, off,
I would say about 600 feet.
okay, yeah, 600.
Yeah, it's way down.
Yeah, okay, alright.
So anyway, that 24-inch letter doesn't make sense in this case, but there you have it. And Brian, if you'll go to the second page, please. the other two variances in the red box in the center, this is a wall sign, but it's in a location other than a storefront, it's around the side. And then the other variance would be to allow, letters in copy up to 4 feet 6 inches tall. The ordinance cuts it off at 3 feet, but that D is 4 feet 6 inches tall.
Okay, so are the rest of the letters other than the D compliant, or not sure?
I think they're just barely
Barely,
over,
okay.
so I just put on there up
The
to
whole
4
thing.
feet 6
Okay.
inches.
And let me ask you this question, I'm assuming this would be on the side of the building that you would be driving up to before you reach
That
the
you would
front
see
of the
first.
building?
That's
Okay. All right. So it's those 3 variances? for
Those are the only 3
The front, okay.
variances.
All right, do y'all want to?
Did y'all have anything to add?
Anything?
No, I'm sorry, I was under the understanding that it would be one variance today, which would be the 4 foot 6 inch letter height. So the other two, I was not aware of variance 3 or 1.
Yeah, you're right. I think you and I spoke on the phone about this, and you wanted to consider the sign on the front and not a wall sign. And so I agreed. I think you're right. It's not a wall sign. It's a marquee sign. Well, a marquee sign has its own limitations, and that's in letter height.
Well, I thought what we were gonna consider it was a roof sign.
A roof sign extends above a roof. It projects above the roof.
Well, it is up along the parapet of the building, which is technically an extension off of the roof.
Can we go back to the first page, Brian? So, thank you.
So that would be an ephes parapet, there's a sign we connect to via a cabinet behind that would hold all the electrical equipment.
Yeah, but I think what White is saying, in our, I guess, in our definition, a roof sign would actually be either going up above that eave, or it would be projecting from the roof, I'm assuming.
That's right.
So our definition is different, of that. Okay, so, and I will tell you, I mean, I think the distance from the street in y'all's case.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think 24 inches, that would be almost impossible
Yeah.
to see from that distance, from, especially at that height. All right, so the 3 variances is to allow a taller, letter height on the front
Yeah.
elevation, and then an additional wall sign, because we only allow, well, is to allow a wall sign in somewhere other than the storefront, right? Because we want wall signs there. And we get that this is the side of the building where people would be driving up the hill.
That's correct, because the linear format that you saw in the one before this, today it's actually on the north elevation.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily see any value in that, because people are typically coming from the south. And on that north elevation, we actually have a 3 foot set there today, so we'd be going back with something similar.
Okay, all right, and then the other one is to allow that slightly larger copy size on the wall sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just for the applicant too, so process-wise, it still has to go to a public hearing, and so we normally make the motion to send it out without recommendation pending that. But before we send it out, are you accepting the 3 as proposed now then?
I don't think so. I think they want the 4 to 6 is my understanding, right? Y'all want the 4 foot letters.
That it is 3 variances.
It is 3 variances, yeah.
Oh,
So I'm just
right,
saying,
right.
are you
Oh, I
gonna?
thought you were talking about the height.
I don't wanna send it out to set a public hearing if there's disagreement upon which variances you're asking for.
Well, yeah, I think we would propose the 3 variances.
Okay, alright. So I make a motion to send it out without recommendation pending the public hearing.
But we need to also set the public hearing. Mike, how soon could we do that? October 9th, okay, so would you add that to your motion?
Yes.
Yeah. So would you add that to your motion to set the public hearing
Yes,
for the
I make a
October
motion
9th?
to set the public hearing for October 9th and send it out without recommendation.
Second.
Okay, all right, so I got a motion, from Mr. Sims, a second from Ms. Andrews. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Alright.
All right, 5-0. So are y'all in town or out of town?
We are from St. Louis.
St. Louis, okay. So we would have a public hearing about this, on October 9th at 6 p.m. And it would be next door in our chambers, and you can communicate with Mr. P.
Perfect. Thank you for your time.
All right, without, any additional items, we are adjourned.